Scripture tells us to whom much is given, much is required. And I have that in my mind as I read this account in the Gospel of Matthew and in the Gospel of Mark, where it talks about these women who were standing afar off there at the crucifixion. They watched the whole thing. And it says that these were women who had come down from Galilee to minister to Jesus. And I interject here that I believe they had been doing that for several years now. They were a part of the ministry team. They worked behind the scenes, and they did what needed to be done to be able to keep those crusades going in the ministry of Jesus Christ. And when I see the church, I see how desperately we need these people who minister. I do a talk show, and I interview people. And I interview people from a lot of parachurch ministries. And I hear their heart, and I hear their struggle. Now, they never come on my radio show poor-mouthing. You'll never hear that. But you listen between the lines, and you realize that finances become a struggle a lot of times for these people who are moved by compassion to do some of the most incredible ministries. I mean, they're ministering to young women who are just now coming out of the prisons, or to young women who have become pregnant without a husband. I mean, these wonderful ministries, people who are ministering to the homeless, to those who are in all kinds of situations in life, people who just pour themselves into these people. And they're just moved by compassion to do that. And every time I have one of these people on my radio show, I'm just stirred in my spirit, because I hear the love, I hear the sacrifice of why they do what they do. But here's the thing. Ministry has to come from the heart. And it's not always easy. And many times I find that people who are not engaged in this type of thing, they really don't see the picture. And they don't understand that here is a person or persons, and they're investing themselves. And many of them are going and working a regular job, and then they're spending their evenings in different times doing these ministries. And they could use some help. And many times when I have them on the radio show, I'll make the appeals for them, for laborers to come alongside of them, or just to contribute. In other words, if you don't want to do hands-on, then give to help those who do have this call and this compassion and this willingness to go and get down in the ditch and minister to people. They could desperately use some help. And to me, this is just a part of the working together, of the building of society in such a positive way. This is Pastor Jack King with the gospel on the radio broadcast.